Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining. So today we are continuing the Jagai and Madai pastime. So Nityananda Prabhu and Haridasa Thakura watched the brothers from a distance and questioned the local people about the particulars of the caste antecedents of the bestial brothers. They were surprised to learn that they were born in respectable family of Brahmanas. From an early age, the brothers had engaged in sinful activities and had been rejected by their relatives. They kept association with the drunkards and demonic persons. The residents of Nadia were in constant fear that their house might be burned into ground for any perceived insult or to the two madmen, and thus scrupulously avoided them. After hearing all of this, Nityananda Prabhu began to consider how they might be delivered. The Lord has incarnated to deliver the sinful. Where will he find such sinners as these? In a lengthy purport to this verse, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakura has discussed the varieties of sinful activities, including sexual offenses, murder, arson, meat eating, theft, vile speech, lies, etc. Almost every conceivable sort of sinful act is detailed, and there were very few that the brothers had not committed. Nityananda Prabhu continued, if the Lord bestows his mercy on these two, then the whole world will know his glories. If I can reveal Lord Chaitanya to them, then I, Nityananda, will be known as Lord Chaitanya's servant. Now they are fully intoxicated and do not know themselves. If only they could become intoxicated like this under the influence of Krishna's name. If the two cry as they say, oh my Lord, then my wandering will be successful. If persons who previously took bath in the Ganges with their clothes on, when they touch the shadow of these two, consider themselves as purified as having taken bath in the Ganges by seeing them, then my name will be remembered. Nityananda Prabhu then turned to Haridasa and out of unlimited compassion for Jagai and Madhai's miserable condition made a plea to Haridasa Thakura for their deliverance. When you are beat practically to death by Yavanas, you thought about even their welfare. If you think about the welfare of these two, then they will certainly be delivered. The Lord never neglects to fulfill your desires. This truth was personally disclosed by the Lord. Let the entire world see Lord Nityananda's influence when he delivers these two. Haridasa Thakura smiled at these statements of Nityananda Prabhu. He knew very well that two brothers were as good as delivered just by Nityananda Prabhu's wish. The Thakura pointed out to Nityananda Prabhu that he was guilty of deceiving him as one would an animal. Haridasa Thakura reasoned that if he took Nityananda Prabhu's declaration seriously and thought of himself as Vaishnava, whose request would cause the Lord to act, then he was no better than a bewildered animal. In fact, he responded, it was desire of Nityananda Prabhu, who was personally the Supreme Lord, which would be the cause of the brother's deliverance. Since Nityananda Prabhu was original spiritual master. Nityananda Prabhu smiled at this wonderful analysis of Haridasa Thakura. He embraced Haridasa Thakura and softly spoke. Let us go and inform these two drunkards of the Lord's order that we are carrying around. The Lord's order is for everyone to worship Krishna, but this is specially meant for the most sinful. Our responsibility is simply to repeat the Lord's order. If the people do not follow, that is his responsibility. This is an important instruction for all the preachers. Their only business is to carry the order of the Lord and request the people to chant the holy name and took a book or a magazine filled with transcendental instruction. If the people do not take it up, even after sincerely, humbly being requested to do so, then it must be considered that it is the will of the Lord, and those requested do not take it up. Such persons have thus invited inauspiciousness upon themselves. Therefore, Mahaprabhu, the order giver, takes part in such a result. The above result, the above statement paraphrased from the purport of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakura in Chaitanya Bhagavata Madhyakanda 1376 may strike the reader as mysterious. If a living being in the exercise of free will decides not to accept the advice of saintly person, how is it in any way the Lord's responsibility? The answer is that Lord is all powerful in his influence. As the Paramatma, the Lord is in the heart. He can influence the living being to act as he likes. Ordinarily, he does not interfere with the minute free will of living being. However, out of loving feeling for his devotees, he feels obliged at times to intercede on behalf of his devotees to benedict others out of affection for the preacher's sincere effort to please him. Out of love, he may fulfill the desires of the Vaishnavas that conditioned souls be freed from the shackles of illusionary energy. When the preacher executes the order of the Lord to approach the people to take up the path of devotional service and chant the holy name, the Lord sometimes intercedes on behalf of his devotees and inspires the conditioned soul to take up his order. Due to the very intense desire of the pure Vaishnavas that such persons be delivered, as expressed by Haridasa Thakura and Nityananda Prabhu, therefore the preacher's only responsibility is to sincerely attempt with intelligence and humility to convince people to take up the Lord's order. The rest is between the Lord and the living being who has been approached. Still, the point may be raised that such dealings of love between the Lord and his followers overrides the free will of the materially conditioned living beings. This is so. However, it is on the platform of loving compassion that all these loving dealings takes place. Out of intense loving compassion, Vasudeva Datta prayed that all living beings in the universe be delivered, and that he would remain behind to accept their loads of sinful reactions. Lord Chaitanya assured Vasudeva Datta by his desire all the souls in the universe would certainly be delivered. The Lord agreed to give the highest benediction to all the souls in the universe, both human and otherwise, to reciprocate the loving desires of his exalted servant. Divine love is thus highest principle and transcends all other considerations or rules. The minute free will of the living being who foolishly chooses to go on suffering in illusion can be overturned by the desire of pure soul and the response of the Lord to such sincere desire. This exchange of love between the preacher and the Lord constitutes the wonderful spiritual politics and freedom of divine love. The result of such loving exchange is that living being can be delivered by the mercy of the preacher of the Lord, despite the mule-headed obstinacy of the conditioned soul. So, as we have seen reading the Jagai and Madai, so they're born in a Brahmana family, but they have committed all the sinful activities. And here it mentioned that there were very few which these brothers had not committed. And but Lord Nityananda, you know, out of his compassion and love for fallen souls, he was, he was made a plea to Haridas Thakur for the deliverance of this, most sinful persons in that place of Nadia, and revealed his mind to Haridasa Thakura. Haridasa Thakura, you know, gave his comments. Is a since Nityananda Prabhu was original spiritual master, and Nityananda Prabhu was saying that it's our responsibility to simply repeat the Lord of order and try to preach. And if the people don't follow, then it's their responsibility. And but our humble responsibility is to preach to the fallen souls and give the Krishna's name and to them and see that they can be transformed or at least be in the right path. And it's also said that when preacher executes the order of the Lord and approach the people to take the path of devotional service, chant the holy name, Lord sometimes intercedes on behalf of his devotees and inspires conditioned souls to take up his order. So So that means, yeah, we should do whatever we can do to preach, giving the name or giving the book or, Prabhupada writings or something, wherever we find the opportunity and leave rest to the Krishna and the person who receives that message. But, Jaga and Mada example is, that we can transform anybody if we have our compassion and, sincere attempt. With that, we can